This is it, boys and girls. The time is here. Spring planting 2020. Oh, on a early start. All things are good. Less than 3 days ago, I had this thing stuck in the field right out here. Now we're dry, sunny. It's like 30 degrees right now, but it's gonna get into the 60s here today and tomorrow. And we're gonna go to town. I've gotten a lot of questions about our different types of tillage and why I was out in the field with that thing the other day. It's fairly dry here, and the ground had frozen on top, and what we wanted to do was level out the ruts in this field out here that we created during harvest last year. That ripper is our deepest tillage. That's typically our fall tillage. It goes in 8 inches deep roughly and really throws the stalks and buries the residue, buries the heavy corn residue. So that's what we use, that ripper right there, when we really want to bury corn residue, which is generally the way it's done around here, because burying that residue helps keep the fields blacker and a little bit lumpier, which means they will dry out in the spring a lot faster. Is it the right thing to do? That's debatable. You can debate it until you're blue in the face. But that's how we do it around here, because we're trying to grow good corn and get in the field as early as possible in the spring. We've got cold soils, we've got heavy clay soils. That's how we do it. We try and bury that residue, get those fields to dry out. The reason I unhooked the ripper is because we should be done with it now. Typically, that's not a piece of equipment we use in the spring. It can definitely create some compaction underneath, and without the freeze-thaw cycle to help break that up, we usually don't want to use it in the spring unless we have to in a situation like we had the other day. Now this rig right here is generally our spring tillage machine. We call this the digger. Other people know it as a field cultivator or a spring tooth. The idea behind this one is we're only digging 2 to maybe 4 inches deep at the most. A lot of times we'll use this to prepare the seed bed before we plant in the spring. This leaves a much more level, smooth surface to come by with the planter so that the row units on the planter are hopefully not bouncing. Leaves the field really soft and really level. Obviously, when you're only going roughly 3 inches deep versus 8 inches deep, this thing also pulls a lot easier, which is why this thing is 52.5 feet wide compared to the ripper, which is only 18.5 feet wide. So, what is the 8360 gonna do this spring then if you don't have it on the planter and you don't have it on the ripper? We'll get to that. But first I'm gonna do a little bit of scraping on the yard over where this bad frost boil is, and then I'm gonna stick the rock picker back on this tractor. We've got a hose on the hitch control here. This hitch goes back and forth for transporting down the road to tuck the rock picker in so it's not sticking out from the tractor. This hose is a bit tight when you turn the other direction, so we're going to take that brace off and hopefully have a little more play in the hose. The rock picker is ready to go. Dad's going to jump in that, go do some odd job stuff with the bucket and the rock picker, do some cleaning up. I'm going to jump in the digger that I was talking about earlier and head to a field about 5 miles south of us here. In a 5-mile drive down here, I saw 3 different people putting on anhydrous, which means people are putting nitrogen on, planning on putting some corn in the ground, I would assume this week. This field here, we got all of our fertilizer on last fall. We did use anhydrous last fall. For the people way down south, I know that sounds funny. That's what a lot of people do up here because we put it on late in the year, like around Thanksgiving, right before the ground freezes up, so we really don't lose nitrogen by doing a late application like that. We got a wet spot here that's normally pretty wet, but I went around it just to be safe, and it's definitely not wet at the moment. That's good. This is a generally drier field. That's the reason we chose this one first. So we're gonna get in here, work this one because it's the driest one and it's got fertilizer on it. We'll put a late hybrid on it, a late maturity corn hybrid, tomorrow and get it off to an early start. I've got the true set going here, so it's maintaining a depth right now of 2.5 inches. And for whatever reason, the basket pressure doesn't like to maintain what I have it set to. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit. I remember having some issues with that last year, but it was never a big deal. It always did a nice job. Now it's higher than I have it set to, and it was lower a minute ago. I'm gonna jump out, take a look over here, just make sure my depth seems like what it's supposed to be and everything looks good. Just the right amount of moisture here. This is beautiful. Plenty deep. It's going plenty deep. There's no need to go any deeper than what you need to. We're gonna plant the corn right at about 2 inches deep. So there's no need really to go any deeper than that. Otherwise you're just pulling harder, burning more fuel, and maybe being harder on the ground. But I'm gonna keep running it here and see. I'll check it again soon. All right, let's go check this out again. I just went through here one of our wetter spots, but it does have a drain tile in it, so that helps a lot. You can see the tires are picking up a little bit of mud because of the shank stirring up the dirt in front of them. That's pretty common for us. This is a little more than I'd like to see, but I did just go through a wetter spot. It's definitely not too dry out here, but with this sun, this wind, it's gonna dry a lot really fast, so it's go time. Notice these tires up front here. They went to a different type of tire and wheel setup. Instead of a cast ring tire here, when they changed the hitch on these things. We ended up breaking one last year, and I can see that something isn't right over there. So these are no longer the big heavy duty caster frame setup that they had before they had this floating hitch. These are not really designed to carry a ton of weight. They're really just there as a balance mechanism. So you can see here there's not a lot of pressure on it, but something's going on here. The pin is fine, the hardware all looks fine. The U-bolts or C-bolts, whatever you want to call them, are tight. Everything looks okay. I'm wondering if this cast shaft is actually bent. The good ones here got plenty of wiggle, just like that one does, but why is that one lean the way it is? There's nothing that to the eye looks physically wrong with it. It's almost gotta be that this cast shaft twisted a little bit. There's nothing to fix at this point. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on it. It's doing its job, it's just not sitting correctly. Maybe it was like that from last fall or last spring, I don't know. That is why we own a rock picker. We don't have a lot of small rocks. People ask about putting rock buckets on the front of our tractors. We laugh at that because the ones you can pick by hand, we don't bother with. We pick 200 rocks like that per year, the ones you can't lift by hand, and that is why we own the rock picker that we do. And no, that rock is not what wrecked that caster wheel. That caster wheel was doing it before that rock. We took out an old fence line here, so we've been cleaning stuff up here. It's just a property line. We now farm on both sides of it, so we wiped that out. But I found this, which I really don't want to send through anything, so I'm gonna go put it by the property stake in the ditch up here, and we'll grab this later, because I definitely don't want it in the field. And as long as I'm out here, I may as well just take a peek at everything, make sure everything looks good. There's one. We don't lose many of these, but I don't know, a half dozen a year that we lose. Probably just break when you roll out a rock. I've got relief coming in. He's gonna relieve me of my tillage duties for the moment. All right, I am going to go grab something with this 8360, but first I've been told that Onyx needs my help with a gopher situation. Oh yeah, you guys got a gopher. He's down there. Say hello. Should we bring him in the house and put him in an aquarium?
No.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Got him. All right, Isla, you coming with me to Glenwood?
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're
Are you being shy? This is what we call a Mandako Storm. This is a 27-foot wide vertical tillage tool, meaning basically I'm going really, really shallow. I'm going to drive really fast and chew up just the top inch to 3 inches of soil and try to break up some of the residue, the corn residue that didn't get ripped last fall. It didn't get tilled under. So we don't want to burn those stalks. We don't want to bale them. We want them in the field because there's a lot of fertilizer value there, a lot of nutrients. The more we can leave in the field, the better. So what we're hopefully going to do is chew up the top to get it to dry out. We'll do that with a first pass and then come back with a second light pass and make a really nice seed bed. Hopefully this thing does the job for us. I can adjust the angle from 0 up to 14 degrees. So this thing's got a ton of adjustments. It's got the rolling baskets on the back that are on hydraulics, so I can lift those up if I want as well. This is a demo for this spring. This comes right from Mandako. This is not from Midwest Machinery. Midwest Machinery is the service and facilitating dealer because they are the ones that we work with. That is our dealer that we've worked with forever. They are Mandako dealers. Mandako contacted me directly about this situation months ago. This is straight from Mandako. And if we like it, maybe it'll stick around the farm. Let's do a little testing here to make sure I got things hooked up and I have an idea what's going on. A couple of the hydraulics are working just fine, but I want to check and make sure the basket's up, which it is. So one of the hydraulics has an electrical connection that I've got to put on it so that I can do different functions with it. So I can't fully run this right now, but I see the wiring and stuff is taped to the hitch there, so I'll deal with that when I get home. Well, I fiddled with it a little bit more to try and get the rear baskets up higher. I turned the hydraulic pressure up, which should be fine. And then we made a mess. Well, we weren't planning on using this machine today anyway, so I'll tug it home and we'll pull the hose off today, tomorrow, whenever. We got to get that field ready to plant, so that is item number 1, but we'll fix that hose when we get to it. Look out, Didge. That hose really is no big deal. It's a moderate annoyance. We're just gonna have to buzz all the clamps off and get it off of there, bring it in, because we'll have to take it to somebody who has a hose crimper. We don't have one, so we'll probably just bring it back to Midwest, have them crimp the end back on. It just came right off the end up here, so it's no big deal. Just put a new end on and crimp it. It happens. Honestly, we've had new equipment that it's happened to before. We had a skid steer attachment once. We had to replace every single end the first day we used it because it kept blowing them off. Just one of those things. You're going back up to the house? You're leaving me? Okay. Have fun. Okay, let's check our iPads because I need these in the planters. That one's been updated. That one's been updated. Now, do some other updating. Those are gonna sit there for a bit and do a cloud sync. And I got something else that I'm gonna work on now because that hose on that Mandako is kind of a low priority right now. We want everything ready so that we can plant tomorrow morning with that. This is a brand new John Deere 8RX 410 horsepower model with a brand new John Deere ExactEmerge planter behind it. Both of these units are also demos for this spring. They didn't give me this tractor or give me this planter. These are demo units for this spring that came directly from John Deere. Midwest Machinery will be doing the servicing of it because Midwest Machinery is our dealer, the dealer that we've worked with for years. However, this came right from John Deere. This is something that we've been working on for months between these two machines. It is a 16-row planter, which we are used to the 24-row planter. We were not able to get a 24-row ExactEmerge in the time frame we were working with, so we've got a 16-row out here. This is the 10-mile-an-hour high-speed planter. We should be able to cover as much ground with this 40-foot planter as what we do with our 60-foot planter at 5 to 6 miles per hour. John Deere is not paying me to have these machines out here. These are demo units. This is simply a really, really cool, unique opportunity to be able to showcase these machines to you guys and let you know honestly what I think. What do I like? Maybe what do I not like about these machines? These will be going back to John Deere when I'm done with them. This is just something that I'm really, really fortunate to be a part of and to be able to have this opportunity. This is because of you guys, okay? This is because of my viewers. This is because So many of you come to this channel and watch what we do over here to see what's happening on our farm, and I could not appreciate that more. This tractor, this planter, that Mandako that we just picked up, that is all here because you guys come to this channel and watch what we do, and I appreciate it so much. So I honestly don't even know what to say here. I just want to say thank you and reiterate how thankful I am for the people out there who watch this channel and who love what we're doing here. This thing does have the new cab. It's got the folding buddy seat. I don't know what's down there. A little extra storage. The seat is all electric, just like in a fancy pickup. Got a refrigerator back here. You can put in there whatever you might need to keep cold, the important stuff. Got all the seat controls here. This thing's got a ton of swivel room to it. Got a 4600 monitor here and a 4640 down here. This thing's got literally everything. Check out that radio. And of course the good folks at John Deere put in a couple camera deals here. I don't know if these sliding rails are stock or if they did that for the Millennial Farmer. I don't know, but they got a couple of ram mounts here. I think I got some stuff that'll fit that. I'm gonna have to make sure I throw that in here, but what I want to do here is just go through the computers, make sure I understand what I'm doing here, what I'm operating, because I hope Deere's going to be out here tomorrow helping me set this thing up. That'll be in the next video, and we'll get this planter rolling and start throwing some corn in the ground. I'm learning new things here. New things about stuff that I don't own. Luckily, enough of it is still, you know, somewhat similar to ours. It is the same style of frame. It's an NT frame, so I kind of get the gist of how this is supposed to work. There we go. We're unfolded. Man, it's been a few years since I've looked at a 40-foot planter behind the tractor. I know we've got some stops in the wheels here. We'll pull out, set it down, and see what it looks like. Got the wheel stops out. May as well put some spring tension on the closing wheels. I'm just gonna set them to where we normally run them with ours when we're planting corn. That should do. And looking at the distance between the gauge wheel here and the opener, I'm thinking that looks awfully deep, so I'm just going to adjust it to go a little shallower because I'm pretty confident that's too deep. Everything looks pretty good here. I've never run a 4600 monitor planting. The only time I've run a 4600 is in that 780 we had last fall, which is going to be a totally different operation than what I'm doing here. So the only other thing I've got left really, I think, is to load this thing, and then Deere will come out tomorrow and help me go through this and really understand what's going on. I don't want to wreck anything before they get here. I'd rather wreck it as they watch me do it. All right, let's hope I can fold this thing back up. Piece of cake. Let's throw some diesel in this thing. Man, what a spring day. This is awesome. Fuel is in. I've got it unfolded again. Now we just need to throw seed in it. Dad's just about done tilling down south, so he's gonna come up and help me get some seed in it. I'll get everything ready here. Now I'm gonna show you guys another item. You guys have seen this already, but this is the new J&M LC390 speed tender. It's very similar to the 290 we had last year, but this one is a triple axle. It'll hold about 100 more bushels in it, so it just holds a lot more. Again, this is a demo for this spring. It will be going back to J&M when we are done with it. Again, this is another opportunity that came about because you guys watch this channel, and I hope you enjoy seeing stuff like this come here. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope this makes the channel more fun for you when stuff like this shows up. Does it? Tell me. Does this make it more fun for you, or do you not like it? By the way, several people pointed this out to me the other day, and I'm disappointed that I hadn't thought of it yet. Thunder storm. Yeah, I ran across the yard to do that. It's interesting anyway. Will this work right here, Isla? I think we'll make it work. Kent, how do I open the tarp on this thing again? Now she's opening. Electric tarp. It's a beautiful thing when you know how to operate it. All right, we should be about in position. The final thing here is the Talc Box. This has an automatic talc dispenser. We use the talc as a dry internal lubricant for the planter. So it's just got a coil through here that moves and essentially feeds it exactly like a cattle or a hog feeder, if anybody's seen those. All right, it looks like it maybe holds a full bucket, but since we've never used this machine, I'm just gonna put some in here. Oh, that was enough. It's baby powder, 80% baby powder with 20% graphite in it. Just an internal dry lubricant. Isla, that dog looks really mad, doesn't she? Now there's a chart here that roughly calculates how much talc you want in. And we're gonna wanna go a little heavy with a brand new planter. First seed of 2020, here we go. Are you helping me? You're pretty tough. Swiveling this thing back into place, huh? You got it? Maybe you should just do this. She left us. She's taking her dog, and she left her motorcycle in the way. Two feet, 1 foot, no feet. I think I've got it set now to put 900 in each side. Automatic talc dispensing, and it'll open and close the door on its own.
Okay.
I think.
Go down and watch the talc, make sure that's going out?
Sure. Here we go. Automatic talc, automatic opening. Getting down there. See if this works. All right, we're loading the second side now. It's loading itself way faster than we loaded it, so I had to turn the talc up a little bit. But it's all good. He's gonna head out with the rock picker. I'm gonna meet him down there with that buggy. Change of plans once again. I unfolded and folded it twice earlier, and now I can't get it to do it. It's communicating with the cylinders, but it's not moving. I don't know if it's the machine or the idiot behind the steering wheel, but I can't move it. I guess I'll pull a hydraulic hose off of a Mandako. That was my impact. Now you can bring these things in the shop and they'll drip for a year. So I'm just gonna hang this thing right here till we get it to town. No sense in making more of a mess than what we have. I'm ready to run down and grab Dad, but Onyx says there's a gopher in the backyard first, so we gotta set another gopher trap to take care of that. We'll let Dad grab a couple more rocks and then I'll zip down there. You ready to go? Pan trap, right at the Y. That's a deep one. Perfection. Well, that's just about a long enough day for a Sunday, so let's run down and grab Dad. He's probably got enough rocks picked off for us to start there tomorrow morning. Oh boy, am I getting excited. Well, that's gonna do it for me. That's been a long enough Sunday for me. I'm pretty excited. Tomorrow morning, about 8 a.m., I'm gonna meet a couple of people here from John Deere right in the yard, and we are gonna go through that tractor and planter, get that up and moving, and tomorrow's the big day. So I am pumped. But I wanna say a couple of things here. When I look at my channel right now, I am at 462,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. Thank you to you guys. I thanked you earlier in the video, and I genuinely mean that. I wanna do something really cool when I hit 500,000. So I wanna say right now, if we can get this channel, and I know this is a big goal, but if we can get this channel to 500,000 subscribers by May 5th, I will write a check for $5,000 to the Farm Rescue Organization. Farm Rescue Organization is an organization out of the Dakotas, I believe North Dakota, and I will read you their mission here. It says, the mission of Farm Rescue is to help family farms and ranches bridge crises, so they have an opportunity to continue viable operations. Farm Rescue provides planting, haying, harvesting, and livestock feeding assistance to farm and ranch families that have experienced a major injury, illness, or natural disaster. Farm Rescue gives families a chance to continue their livelihood by providing the necessary equipment and manpower free of charge to get the job done. For those of you who don't know about the Farm Rescue Organization, they're an amazing organization. They've helped out over, I believe, 700 different families. Very credible organization, doing some great things. So I would love to write them a check for $5,000 if we can hit 500,000 subscribers by May 5th. I know it's lofty, so share away, share this channel, subscribe. Let your grandpa who watches all the time know that subscribing is free. It doesn't cost him anything, and I won't bog him down with a bunch of emails, nothing like that. Just all you need is a YouTube account, hit the subscribe button, that's it. And of course it helps if you leave a comment. It helps if you throw a thumbs up there. I don't make any more money if you do those things, but it does help the analytics of the channel, that's it. Do that for all the farming channels. You know, it's so important that farming gets the word out in every way possible, and farming is diverse. I can't ever pretend that I can show everything about farming on my channel. So to everybody out there who does this, subscribe to them all, support them all, but let's get this channel to $500,000 so that I can write that check. Let's make that happen. Please, make that happen. Let's do it by May 5th.